We are recording. We don't have to talk about anything related to video games. Let's just talk about Pogs.
Okay, let's do it.
Where's Pogman? What happened to him?
I'm sure he's doing all right.
Pogman, for those of you who don't know, was...
Well, they know who Pogman is, Bryan.
Okay.
The kids look... The kids can't get fucking enough of Pogman.
Okay, was Pogman like a cryptid kind of Bigfoot-looking dude, or was he a caveman that had been thawed out and was like, I got this technology from the past, you're going to love it in the future?
I think he's a caveman.
I don't have a clue who Pogman is.
Neve, you dropped a bit. Come on.
Neve, you know who...
You know who Pogman is.
Pogman.
Yeah.
Now, we're not talking about that Twitch slang, well, poggers with a Z at the end. We're talking about cardboard-based disc flinging.
Yep.
That you would do out in the schoolyard.
You got your slammer.
You got your slammer. You want to trade a pog?
No metal slammer this round. None.
I'm not giving out any freebies today.
No, absolutely not.
You can piss off. I was at the newsagent. I'm not going again to newsagent till Friday. This is my stack for the week.
Yeah, which was your favorite pog, Bryan?
There was one where it was a yellow road sign, and it said Pogman Crossing.
That's okay.
And I had that up on my bedroom wall until I was 25.
Wow.
Because sometimes you look around and you're like, wait a second, why are you still there?
I had one, and it was a big green Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he had sunglasses on, but there was a little purple tail coming out of his jaw, and it said, I loved Barney.
Oh, badass.
I guess that's kind of like 90s counterculture where they were like, you know what? Did you guys watch that Barney documentary, the 2-part thing?
No.
It's called I Love You, You Hate Me.
Oh, yeah. I'd heard about this.
It's trash.
Okay.
It's 2 1-hour episodes. It may as well just be a 30-minute YouTube video that's been dragged out like triple its length.
So it's not reaching the heights of the Elmo documentary?
No.
Okay.
Being Elmo is a really good documentary with unfortunate timing because within that 6-month window, the dude, I can't remember his name, seemed like a really, really interesting guy, and then they couldn't do it anymore.
I feel like they need to tack on another 20 minutes to that movie now.
With like a new amendment, addendament.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what do you do? Because you are given like a very... That's not a perception. And like, granted, I've watched that documentary. I know the stuff with him. It's been a while. I don't remember.
It's been 10 years.
You don't really want to leave a portrayal like that hanging if there's a potential, right?
Yeah, because I remember watching that, like downloading it a year after it came out and being like, that was great. And then you go on Wikipedia and there's like another paragraph below, and it's like, what's been happening recently? And just the trick is never ever watch a documentary ever, because things are constantly evolving. No, like time cap, like this podcast, out of date. It's completely inaccurate.
Yeah. You don't know what we did since we recorded this. It might be awful.
Like we're not murderers now. We don't know.
Yeah. The chances of the three of us all making it to the end of our lives without murdering anyone have to be minute. Right? Just impossible.
Slim to none.
Sometimes there's manslaughter, and you don't know. It's not premeditated, John.
Neve, can we tell the Scotty 2 Hotty story? Because that sounds weirdly relevant to all this.
What's the Scotty like? What did he?
So a while ago, myself and Neve were at a wrestling show.
I was there too.
Bryan was there.
All of us were there.
But Bryan doesn't get wrestling. He's just like, why are they hurting each other? And I'm like, Bryan, sit down.
That is true. I did actually. Except no, it was a snarky couple in front of me, and they were like, "It's wrestling," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing a bit, you fucking jerk." But then they were really nice to the guy who was on his own, so I was like, "Look, they're being sound to him, so I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take my hit."
But Scotty 2 Hotty was there, and me and Neve were big Scotty 2 Hotty fans back in the day, and we were like, "We go up and get a photo. But we were too scared, and then he went backstage, and we were like, "Oh."
Yeah, but like, I was really excited. Like, seeing him was such a highlight of that evening. It was like, I was really, really happy just to be like in Scotty's presence.
And his body was very interesting. His nipples were a cool length.
Yeah, that dude took no bumps, and let me tell you, there is definitely a reason for that.
Yeah, and he had a second, what do you call them, hat in his pocket. It was very good.
Yeah, he was.
Tying off his nipples.
It was very entertaining. Turns out the dude might suck.
Yeah, I was watching, not the latest, one of the more recent Jimquisitions video, and Jim Stephanie Sterling was meant to fight Scotty Too Hotty, but seemingly Scotty Too Hotty pulled out because he's a transphobe. And that just makes me so sad, because I was just like, oh, that's so cool.
I feel bad for Stephanie, because like that's, you know, she was pumped about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this came up because
it's a big deal.
Because you were debating whether or not to get your photo taken with Scotty Too Hotty a couple months back.
Yeah.
And you didn't, and you regret not having your photo taken, but now you probably you are relieved.
Yeah. It's kind of a whole Chris Chan situation.
Yeah.
Like the time I could have met Chris Chan and I didn't.
But now maybe...
Now in retrospect, like I regretted that for a good 2 or 3 years.
But at least now you're not part of Christery.
Yeah. I would get a little...
Yeah, you'd have a little line in there somewhere.
Yeah, just
like
one...
famous
like
people that
Yeah.
Chris Chan has interacted with.
Yeah.
Strange old world.
Willie met Chris Chan.
I believe it. I believe it.
Because he told me, because I was talking about how years back I was working My Little Pony and I told Willie, and then it came up because and also because the previous series was made in Canada. Small world.
Speaking of Wooly and by extension Magfest, we're all going to be at Magfest.
Yes.
Let's Fight a Boss has a motherfucking panel at Magfest. That's what we wanted to call it, the motherfucking Let's Fight a Boss panel. They said we couldn't.
Yeah, this is our first international panel.
Or just panel.
No, I'm just no. We are successful in Ireland.
Oh, we are giants in Ireland.
Yeah, no, they
most famous video game podcast to come out of Ireland.
Definitely. Like, we are going to enter €50 submission to enter the Irish Podcast Awards. Of course.
Can I just say it?
Yeah.
Irish Podcast Awards can suck my fucking dick.
Our numbers, they wouldn't be able to count that high.
No. No.
We have a panel in panel room number 2 on the Friday of Magfest, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. You better fucking be there.
Oh yeah, that's the whole thing. Normally I'm pretty like lackadaisical with panels and stuff. I don't mind too much who comes or not. This is not that. If you listen to this podcast and you don't show up at this panel, you're a thief. A goddamn thief.
Attendance is mandatory.
It is mandatory for literally everyone. I don't care if you listen to one episode. I don't care if this is your first episode. In fact, you know what? I'm feeling a little aggressive today. If this is your first episode, get out.
Yeah.
You're not welcome.
Yeah.
Leave.
Stop listening. Leave.
Yep.
Yeah. But do check out the Patreon, but don't listen.
I've got a lovely treat planned for everyone who comes to the panel. It's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I can't wait to share it with you guys.
Brian had a plan. He started telling me his plan, and I stopped being like, "Oh man, Brian, just don't tell me. I think it's better I don't know." Neve told me her plan, and like I stopped listening so fucking quickly. I was just like Brian, do you ever just zone out like immediately when someone's talking?
Oh yeah. In this instant, I heard everything she said, and it's going to be in the back of my mind all over fucking Christmas. And like, it's not Christmas yet, but Neve has preemptively ruined Christmas for me with her notions.
And I'm excited to ruin everyone's Friday evening.
Should be a fun panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Friday the 6th of January, and it's in National Harbour in the Gaylord. Neve, don't laugh. No, there we go. In the Gaylord Convention Center in panel room.
We got to get a photo of Neve like next to a big sign, the Gaylord.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of funny.
It is pretty funny. Yeah. I will have a panel with Wooly the following evening. I think at either 7 or 8. You guys can check the fuck here. That one's not mandatory. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's Wooly's problem.
Yeah, that's Wooly's problem.
But you better fucking show up at ours.
Oh, I swear to God.
We got some ideas planned. It should be a good time.
So I guess just so people know how serious I am with this, if you listen to Let's Fight a Boss and you see me after this panel and you say you listen to Let's Fight a Boss, my first question is going to be about that panel. If you do not answer correctly, I will walk away. I will 180 and walk away no matter where we are. I don't care.
He'll do it.
Yep.
I've seen him do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He'll turn his back on you, and that sweet, sweet bottom of his will wiggle and swaggle off into the horizon.
You guys,
Not for touching.
I think we need to have a talk about some stuff.
Hate to see you go. Love to watch you leave. Is that?
Yeah,
Your ass
that's
is good,
the
John.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
It's unintentional. I just cycle a lot.
John, can we... okay. Just real quick before we do the actual podcast. John got measured for his wedding suit.
Bryan!
What did the guy say?
Very full in the posterior.
Posterior?
Posterior.
Oh, okay.
The posterior is
yeah, it's
like...
his front bottom.
that's kind of like engorged.
Brian, I don't think we can put that in here.
It's just so funny.
Yeah, just send him on a treasure hunt. Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast, the world's strongest video game podcast. I am sitting here with two of the most happening dudes.
Okay.
It's Neve. I'm so tired, guys. I'm so tired.
Neve came in on a skateboard, kickflipped over John, and then grinded to a halt and said, "Homework sucks."
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I came in and did a spray can on my... because we are now recording in my house. I did spray paint on my own wall, and it said, "Brian says John's got a cool butt." And then John was like, "Shouldn't you guys be studying for the science exam?" And Neve said once again, "Homework sucks because it's hard to write 100 episodes of children's television in a week." We're slammed.
All this happened. See, you guys...
Did you have to introduce Brian?
It's Bryan. It's just Bryan. You have the fucking... I just...
Hey, yo, it's Barry. What's good?
It's... Yep.
We got Barry, we got Neil, and we got Josh.
Yeah, and with you always your host, Josh. You guys have seen the Twitter's been a bit of a problem
Oh, yeah.
recently.
Yeah, there's some
Have you
news.
guys, like, made up or, like, registered any alt accounts or any preparations or stuff like that?
No.
No.
Like, everyone was going like crazy for Mastodon, but then I heard everything you had to do to find people and be part of it, and I was just like, oh, I don't care that much.
Mastodon seems like a service that's going to be ready in 5 years, and it was like that 5 years ago. I made a Mastodon account 5 years ago, and I was like, well, this is fucking weird and crap.
I'm seeing it that there's just going to be this kind of you're going to drift away further from other people if less
Yeah.
people are going to use Twitter. That's great.
Yeah.
I decided
that
like
sounds really, really peaceful.
I decided like I'm gonna set up one alt account on one platform, and that's gonna be it.
And what is it?
So TikTok.
Well, I don't know. Look, I'm not that online, so I just looked at a bunch of the names and I picked the one that I thought sounded the best. So Truth Social. And
OnlyFans.
let me tell you, that is it's a challenging place. I'll tell you that. A lot of new ideas coming my way, but you know, I'm trying to make the best of it.
What kind of ideas you hearing?
You know, I don't think it's the kind of stuff that people should really say publicly, but I guess that's kind of interesting. You know, it's a lot of debate.
Is this a racist website?
Do you not know Truth Socialist?
No.
It's Donald Trump's Twitter.
Oh, cool.
Only cut that bit if it's funnier without me explaining it.
Make the comedy work, Oni. He watches Seinfeld. He gets it.
Neve.
Yeah, I watched Pearl. Sorry, cut you off. It's shut up, John.
Yeah, John.
Like I just lost
John.
an argument I never
John,
even engaged
she
in.
watched Pearl.
Watched Pearl.
Okay.
Give
I
it
watched
up.
Pearl.
She watched Pearl.
Okay.
I did it. I watched it. It's done.
And?
I'm not sure I follow the tone of this conversation.
I prefer to X.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I liked it much better. I thought like Pearl was it made Pearl more sympathetic in X, obviously, as it would. This is the prequel to X. X is the movie where an elderly woman who's just too horny to live decides to murder a whole pile of horny
That
20-something
doesn't
year
sound
olds.
scary at all. Neve.
But in this, Pearl is...
You see, she's old.
Oh, I don't really.
But this is like 50 years previous when Pearl's in her like mid-20s and she's
Yeah.
a horny farm girl and that's her whole life.
Yeah. And you kind of get more of an idea of like Pearl because like her mom is really like stifling and like old fashioned. It kind of suggests that maybe they're Nazis that settled after the war and that her dad is a Nazi.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
I just really love the Golden Age Hollywood aesthetic and like the fact that she's kind of like a Judy Garland, Dorothy
Yeah.
type character and all the very two-dimensional backgrounds and like sky cards that they use. And that musical number.
I get what you meant by saying it was a very like it's a COVID movie because
Yeah.
there's a rationale within the film. It's like the Spanish flu, I think.
Yeah, Spanish influenza, which
Yeah.
which 1920s. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, so
that's really clever.
so it's set 100 years ago.
So they're all wearing masks in it, and she's walking around. So you get like some group shots, but every maybe second person is wearing a face covering kind of thing, which I haven't seen in any other movie, and I thought it was really interesting. It was really like, oh, this is really marking the year in which it's made, but it also makes perfect sense within it. But also just kind of talking about movie making now, I guess.
Yeah.
Pearl really wants to get out of her shitty farm life with her really stifling mother and her father, who is kind of like, he seems paralyzed from maybe the neck down.
Yeah.
And she's just wants to express herself through dance and through sex, and she cannot. And it's one of those movies where it just kind of keeps escalating, you know? She sneaks out of the house and then everyone's dead. So, you know, that level of escalation.
Yeah.
I thought it was really fun. I thought the color choices were really nice. That dance sequence in the field with the scarecrow was brilliant. I thought it was just fantastic. Really liked Pearl. Really makes me excited for the third one in it.
Yeah. No, it's cool because you're watching.
Wait, what's the third one going to be?
It's the girl who escapes the farm in X.
Who's also Mia Goth.
Yeah, it's all Mia Goth.
Yeah, because Mia Goth and the director are like besties now.
Yeah, and Mia Goth plays elderly Pearl in like old person makeup as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because she's got a really unusual face. She doesn't have eyebrows.
So yeah, I'm like, for its faults and for its like high points, I'm enjoying this trilogy so far. You know.
Yeah. Now, like it's cool how it's very much she is the villain.
Yeah.
And you're watching her, but you're rooting for her.
Oh yeah.
Because
you're rooting
she's
for
just so entertaining.
her. Yeah. And her life's so shit, and you're just
Yeah.
like, I can see why you'd want to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she doesn't makes it so much sadder that she's just stuck there forever.
Yeah. She's not going over that rainbow.
Nope.
Brian,
Yes.
tell us about Strange World.
Strange World is the new Disney feature film that nobody has seen except for me, apparently.
I never heard of this.
Yeah, I only heard of it
never
because
heard of
you
it.
mentioned it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I heard about it when people were saying, "Oh, it's doing really bad in the box office," and I was just like it was kind of a pointed comment about it doing shittily, and I was just like, "What is this? I've never seen this marketed or anything."
all right. I found out about this film about 2 months ago through some animation mutuals who were like, "Oh, a friend of a friend did concept. Here's the art book that's coming out."
Oh,
And I was like, "Is this a Disney Plus TV series? What is this?"
yeah.
Okay. Disney, for the last couple of years, have done either a Disney Plus release or a dual release with Cinema and Disney Plus since the start of the decade. Mm-hmm. And that's because of COVID, obviously. But this is Disney's new feature film, and for the last 20 years or so, more or less, they've released a feature film in the month of November or December, just before Christmas. And Rebecca and I see them every year. We saw Encanto last year, we enjoyed it. Sometimes they do a movie in March, like Raya and the Last Dragon. I thought that movie was okay, but it should have been a mini-series because it was so ambitious with its world scope. Mm-hmm. But Strange World was the newest one, and of course I'm going to go see it. And I love adventure movies, and this was an adventure movie. Disney generally do the princess movie or a sing-along, but this was neither. This was a family adventure movie, and I was down for it. And the last one of those was probably Disney's Atlantis, and that didn't do super well either. And I think one of the biggest problems is when Disney does an adventure movie, they don't promote it.
Why? Like, what is that about?
No clue. And like, this has the budget behind it in terms of its visuals. Like, this is an amazing looking film. The art direction's great. It's got some solid jokes. Animation's fantastic. Like, this is 100% a Disney movie. This is not a B team. This is an A team Disney movie.
So, like, they just pulled a plug on the marketing and just be like, no, let's not promote this.
This came out the day before Thanksgiving, more or less, in America and here as well. And that same week, the new Knives Out movie came out, Glass Onion.
Yeah.
And this movie only came out in the cinemas, not at home. And I think part of why it didn't do well is because it should have been out in Disney Plus because families were at home for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Even if they were going to do that extortionate thing they do where they make people pay more.
Yeah. The little premium preview thing like they did with that Cruella prequel and stuff like that. Because I saw bus signs for it in New York when I was there. And that was at the end of November. Like, how often are you guys seeing the Callisto Protocol being marketed to you before a YouTube video?
Like
Fucking
all
constantly.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that thing is probably going to do well.
Yeah. And Glass Onion, I saw loads of advertising for that.
Yeah, and so like...
I get that guy who's like, I'm so happy to be talking about Revolut today. Do you know that fucker?
Yeah, that guy.
Who the fuck I don't know. I don't know who
swappy
that guy.
phones, get your second-hand phone.
swappy.
And it's someone opened their phone in a park. Who the fuck does that?
Okay.
But yeah, it just seems like there is saturation for ads because we are seeing all the same ads over and over, but I don't know why I didn't sprinkle in a bit of Strange World in there. But then, Encanto last year, I don't remember there being that much marketing about Encanto, but...
No, but there was definitely way more visibility. Like,
Yeah.
I'd heard about that.
But see, I think the thing with Encanto was because of the voice cast and the international South American aspect of it, it was heavily promoted there.
Yeah, okay.
And so it did well in the Americas, North and South America. And we get influenced by their continents, so it trickled that way. But like, it's weird with Disney features because I'll watch them with blinkers on or with like blinders on either side. And like, it's not until like afterwards that I can remember seeing the original Frozen like 9 years ago and being like, that was really good. And then like it being February the following year and it was still in the cinemas. And I was like, okay, I guess this film is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because Encanto last year, that stuck around until about February or March as well. And that We Don't Talk About Bruno's song was like the pop culture zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, there
That
was
was the You're
memes,
Welcome
you know.
song.
Yeah, the memes.
Yeah.
But
I saw a lot of Encanto memes.
but then like Strange World is a completely acceptable, fine film. Like there's nothing.
What the fuck? That's
Like,
so
like it's not a
strange.
bad film. Now, I watched it with Rebecca, and I really enjoyed it. And we both liked the film, and we both left the film, and I asked Rebecca, did she enjoy it? She was like, not really. I zoned out. There's things in it that I like, but there's a father-son, grandfather relationship dynamic that I loved. But that's something I would personally relate to. There's a good cast of characters, but
Just
then
like
there's...
White Orchid Season 2.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
White Lotus.
White Lotus, sorry, yeah.
I love the grandpa
Can we
so
talk
much.
about that real quick? Just like for a second.
Yeah, fuck it.
I feel like I'm in hell watching... Season 1 was like, what a fun little summer romp thing with some quirky happenings and a guy dies and it's fine.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I'm in hell watching Season 2. It is so grim. It is so awful. It's brilliant.
Season 2 is like a brain maze, but there's razor blades on the walls and you keep cutting yourself.
Yeah, it's so fucked up.
I love F. Murray Abramson as the grandpa because like that actor, he's 83 years old. Like,
He looks great for 83.
yeah, and he's playing an 80-year-old man, but like he's still 100% there, and he gives it fucking socks.
Jennifer Coolidge is such a fucking delight. Oh my god, she's so funny.
Did you watch the last episode 7?
Not yet, no.
You're in for a treat.
Oh boy, I can't wait. But another bit in episode 6 where the guy's like, you don't know what it's like to be in a hole. Oh, great shit.
I don't want to be a fuckboy.
I do a little.
Yeah, you do.
Anyway,
no,
what were we talking about?
look-
Some fucking Disney shit.
I just feel so bad for this movie. No, look, okay, it's Disney and they'll be fine. I feel so bad for the animators
Yeah.
who, like
Because
people.
a lot of love sounds like it went into this.
There is love put into this film from pre-production to post-production, and the staff who worked on this film, they didn't know this was going to happen. And it's a great film, and I prefer it to some of the more recent Disney feature films. Like, this would be kind of... If there was a list of, like, the last 10 films from Disney, this would be on like, you know, the higher end of that list. Because I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
So I just think if you have a shred of curiosity about Strange World, try and see it. Perhaps even in the cinema, but I don't think it's being shown in Ireland anymore.
Oh, that's brutal.
Glass Onion didn't even stay long
No.
in Ireland. I think
That's-
it was
Glass Onion gone?
Yeah.
That's going to be on Netflix in a week.
Okay.
I find that really weird. The
I think
time
it's like
between
a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
What they've started doing is there's, I think it's either a 5-week or a 6-week rule to be qualifying for Oscars and stuff like that. It has to have that amount of time in the cinema and then you can dump it on streaming. So they're doing that like back to back, that as soon as it can go on streaming, it will, because there's so many platforms that need a new thing every week, sometimes twice a week.
Would you guys be disincentivized to see a movie that you wanted to see if you knew it was going to be on streaming a week later?
It depends on the movie. I think if there's something more like there's some more spectacle to it, I kind of always want to see that in the cinema.
I can remember this happened with Uncut Gems in January 2020. It was out in the cinemas at the start of January, but it was going to be on Netflix by the end of January, so Rebecca and I just waited.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never go to the cinema to see an Adam Sandler movie.
But you would stick one on at home?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's like the ultimate rental guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's why he's got such a good deal with
Yeah.
Netflix. He's made like 20 films with Netflix.
Yeah.
So many.
Guys, I watched Skinnamarink.
Yeah, you did.
This is probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
That's mad, John.
I know.
John, you are on horse tranquilizers.
Probably. I fucking loved this movie, but it is the most frustrating, agonizing movie. Like, I fell asleep twice. Like, I attempted to watch this film twice, and I fell asleep both times. And the third time I fell asleep again, but then I woke up and I was like, oh, look, fuck it, we might as well just get to the end of this. By the end of it, I was, like, freaked out by a movie in a way that I have not been in forever.
So you were captivated by the end.
Complete, like, whatever lane that film is trying to put you on, I was there by the end. Bryan, you were not.
No, I found it to be an endurance and I was not rewarded.
Yeah. It's a really difficult to watch movie. It doesn't like Bryan, could you follow anything that was happening, or was it just nonsense?
I read the synopsis ahead of it, which I appreciated. I read, so that
Yeah, I
gave
had
me
a
a heads
little
up.
context, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and I do appreciate this movie aesthetically, but I don't know why it's 90 minutes long. Or, like, sometimes I'll watch like a horror movie, and horror is interesting because, like, yeah, horror could be a 90-minute feature, but the way sometimes it can also be like an episodic YouTube out of order thing, like This House Has People in It, or it could be like the original Marble Hornets that did Slenderman. Like, I think this could fit into that category more than it could a theatrical movie.
I would totally disagree, but I do get where you're coming from.
Okay.
To me, like, a big part of this movie is like it's exhausting. Like, it just grinds you down. And like, the whole premise of the movie is basically it's just a bunch of still shots around a house.
Yeah, because like it's done in animation, kinda, where the camera's moving and it's like pixelation.
It's just a shitty camera. This movie has $15,000 budget. But it's like, you start to figure out that, like, it's this story where these two children have been left at home at night, and then all the doors and all the windows in their house disappear. And so then they set up camp in front of the TV downstairs, and things go from there. And like, it really, like, I'd say for the first 40 minutes, Bryan, nothing happens. Like,
I'd say the first 89 minutes.
Okay. So is it just the children sitting around, or are they like trying to get out of the house?
For a good chunk they are, but they kind of
not like
get a bit...
it is them kind of sitting around for the first 40 minutes. But
Are they young?
They're like 6 and 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
Maybe
seems
young.
like what they would do.
You never
Yeah.
see them.
Oh,
You see their feet.
And then from the back, at one point you see a kid inside profile, and that's about as like detailed as
Yeah,
it
and
gets.
even that's like blurry and shitty.
Yeah.
this sounds like a difficult movie to watch.
It's really difficult. Like, that's why, like, when Bryan said he hates it, like, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, I nearly walked away from this movie being like, fuck this. But I also think, like, when I watched it, I was in my apartment by myself at midnight. I think don't watch this movie with friends. It's not that movie at all.
It's something you watch on your own because it's kind of like you're watching a Forbidden Cursed video.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. But so nothing happens for like 40 minutes, and it's frustrating and it's irritating. And then you hear just like, Kevin, come upstairs. And you're like, wait, what? And then Kevin comes downstairs and he's like, Mom's upstairs, but I don't think it's her.
Oh, that's pretty scary.
There's a lot, like, did you find any of that scary, Brian?
I love the looking under the bed stuff.
Was that, oh my god. So that was the moment that hooked me. And I was like, okay, I am fucking in this movie.
Because, like, you know the way there's that thing where it's like, there's a monster in my closet? We don't do closets in Ireland. It's there's a monster under my bed. And they captured that feeling really well.
So, like, I'll talk a little bit about this scene. Just, like, there's more stuff beyond this, but, like, the kid goes into their room and you see, like, their mom sitting on the bed, but you only see their, like, her back. And it's, like, this really slow process of the kid walking around the bed and, like, trying to, like, get close enough to the mom to see that it's her, but it's scared of her as well because it know what it is. And she's like, look under the bed. And oh, it really fucking got me. And like things get worse from there. What this actually, like what it kind of turns into is like this really horrible story about just these completely unseen entities torturing these children. And like you don't see anything. You never see anything. It's all like suggested. You'll see like there's a few bits where like you see one or two things, but like it's not gory. You're not really seeing very there are some frightening visuals, but not many.
Yeah,
but
and
like
there's like a shadow, but it's like a black tar that's like growing down, like it starts to increase through the hall.
Yeah,
things like that, because it's about being afraid of the dark as well.
Yeah, I think like the thing with horror is like when you watch enough horror, like you learn the rhythm of horror, like you learn the beats of it. You know when they're trying to fake you out with a fake jump scare so they can hit you with an actual jump scare 20 seconds later. You know, you understand the language of horror, and it's more about how well horror uses those tropes rather than anything really scaring you. So it can, like, do you ever get scared in a horror movie and you kind of, your reaction is like, ah, God, I see what you did there. You got me. That was good. Yeah. There's no you got me's in this movie because it's not operating off any kind of rule set. There's not a 3-act structure. It's not a proper narrative. There's no setups and jump scares. There's just crazy fucking shit.
It's like a weird experimental remix.
It is. And like some people are absolutely gonna hate it. But like by the end of that movie, I was so fucking clicked in and so scared that when the actual credits rolled, I was relieved. I was like, oh, thank God, because like I was
too
bad. Good one. Genuinely one of my favorite films ever. I loved it, and to me, like, it depends how much you give a shit about seeing a kind of horror you haven't seen before. Like, if you're really, really passionate about horror and want something new, I would check this out. I think if that's not you, I think this is going to be a frustrating chore of a movie.
So, can I tell you my favorite parts of the film?
Go for it.
The kids are watching cartoons on the television, but they're watching Fleischer Brothers cartoons because, you know, there's no licenses to pay for those. And I was just watching the cartoons. And there would be other stuff happening, but I was just zoned in on, like, Bimbo's initiation. And they play it, like, 3 times, but, like, in different bits. And so sometimes I was, like, singing along to it, and Rebecca was like, why do you know those lines? And I was like, because Bimbo's initiation, Rebecca.
Want to be a member? That stuff?
No! That's the one. I don't know why he sounds like Jimmy Stewart, but he does. Want to be a member? Or the bit where she's like, come here, big boy. And he's like, what a pippin. But it's like a fucked up Betty Boop because they hadn't like figured out her design yet.
Yeah. Bryan.
Yes.
Bokutachi ga this thing.
I'll try it. I'm gonna do it, okay?
Go for it.
Forgive my Japanese. Bokutachi ga Yarimashita. In brackets, we did it. But I also think it means we did it.
Oh no. I wish people could have seen Brian's face there.
Okay, so I really like the manga author Kaneshiro Muneyuki. He is the author behind As the Gods Will and Jigan. And he also does Blue Lock, which has recently started an anime adaptation.
Super fun anime.
I've read the first 2 chapters, and so far so good.
Yeah. I was a bit worried that Blue Lock would be like a little too, I guess, just normal sports anime for you.
No. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it is.
And like this guy's speciality is stupid teenage boys and Game of Death.
Yep.
And We Did It falls into the stupid teenage boys category.
Okay.
And so this is a manga series. It's a seinen manga. I can't remember which comic it was published in. It was published in Not Shonen Jump. It was either in Young Jump or Big Spirits Comics, one of them. This author has had series published in all of those. But what I'll do is, if I find an author I like, I go on my anime list and I scroll down to the manga section, and then I look at what else they've made. And this popped up, and I was like, what the fuck is this? So I got all 11 volumes, and I started reading it on my iPad a couple of weeks back. And this is a story about a group of 4 friends, 3 teenagers, and 1 adult man who has graduated high school but still hangs out with the teenagers because he can't make friends his own age. And these 4 lads are living their best life. They are best friends. They love each other. There's all these depictions of like positive male bonding, and I really, really thought that was sweet and cute. By the end of the
Eve
first...
just rolled her eyes at that.
You don't want to apologize to all men?
I'm sorry to all men.
She didn't.
You guys have it hard.
Yeah, we do.
Well, you know.
Like, sometimes I have to deal with minor inconveniences and I just piss myself. Like, what the fuck am I going?
I'm just sick of everyone, like,
Getting
guessing that I'm going to be a racist.
I'm fed up with other people getting opportunities. Like, I thought I was supposed to get the presidency.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about these 4 lads, and the first volume starts off, and you're like, okay, this is silly, this is good times. By the end of the first volume, they've done something really, really awful, and it's like they're in this high school, and then opposite them is another high school, and that high school is full of like Yankees and bullies and that, and you know, like tough guys who ride motorcycles. And they get picked on and they get extorted by the bullies from that school, so they decide as a prank to set off a bunch of sparklers to scare them. But one of the sparklers is down in the basement where the gas is, and they explode the school, and a bunch of students die.
Oh, no.
That is pretty bad.
That's not great.
And this is one of my favorite subgenres of stupid boys, okay?
Okay.
Accidental murder.
Accidental murder. So, you know the film Super Dark Times?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay. Or you know that episode of South Park where it's the flashback to kindergarten, and they explain that they horribly burned and mutilated their kindergarten teacher, but they all have to keep a secret. So it's that where they all have to go, we can never talk about this again. And then the older guy, his dad is like a millionaire, and his dad hates him, but he gives him money, and he gives money to the other lads and goes, okay, we're all going to go our separate ways. We're all going to like become men and live on our own. And they have no idea how to do this. And it's just several volumes of them trying to navigate their lives while they just fuck up even more, and it's amazing.
That sounds fun.
And then 3/4 through it, they decide they're going to stand up and they're going to be brave boys. Fucking backfire. It's amazing.
Cool. That sounds great.
But like, this definitely fits into a very special subgenre that I look, if people are listening and if they could think of other examples of like boys being very stupid and having an innocent time, and then it becomes not so innocent, and
That's so interesting. That's something you seek out, because like that stuff really stresses me out.
Oh,
like,
it's amazing. Yeah, no, I think it's why
I have nightmares where I like. Okay, I need to phrase this carefully. I haven't murdered someone in. I don't murder someone in the nightmare. Okay, that I'm not there for that part.
But you're guilty.
I have nightmares where it's the day after, and I'm like, oh fuck, I murdered this person yesterday, and it's me trying to think of how to like get out of it, And then whenever I wake up, it's it's like, you know when you have a bad dream and you wake up and you're like, thank God that was just a dream. The fucking rush of euphoria I get when I wake up and I haven't murdered someone, and then I go over and I like move Michelle to make sure she's alive, and then like I kind of live my day like, oh my God,
yeah.
So yeah,
but yeah, this is about like, I guess it's the idea that like they haven't been caught for this, but the guilt of this controls them. And the only way to be free is to be caught.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that dilemma. And so if you could think of other examples, shoot me a message, shoot us a comment, let us know. Because it is a fun subgenre.
Bryan needs to get his guilt on.
I do. I've never done anything wrong in my life. Me and Florence Pugh are completely immaculate.
Just the two of you.
So I keep saying Florence Pugh to Rebecca, and she's like, who's that? And I'm like, the actress that's never done anything wrong in her life. Because she's the new actress that's never done anything wrong in her life.
Yeah.
Because they made Don't Worry Darling and she got none of the blame.
Well, that's because she knew to stay out of the
Yeah,
limelight. She was smart enough. She was like, I see where this train wreck is going.
Like Chris Pine shouldn't have.
Yeah.
He got spat on by Harry Styles. And don't say he didn't. I looked at the other camera angle. He got spat on.
That whole story is so fucking weird.
That film is so bad.
Is it?
Oh, it's terrible.
Honestly, that was a story we all needed this year.
Yeah.
This year's been heavy. That was some like lesbian. I wish that was some celebrity gossip that had low stakes but was juicy.
Like,
you know,
it was as good as like a Lindsay Lohan Paris Hilton feud.
Exactly.
But both of them in the car together smiling at the paparazzi.
Do you ever see a celebrity get popular really quickly and you start like nearly like bracing for them because you're like, oh, you're gonna make some tiny fucking slip up and people are gonna descend on you?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. What'd she do?
I think she actually preemptively like she's messed up a little bit, I'm sure, but she actually took a break from acting and now only does a couple of movies because it seems like she got like movie fatigue because she was all of a sudden in like 10 movies a year.
Yeah.
And then scaled it back.
When I see how
But she nearly got.
When I see how big Jenna Ortega is now, I just feel like, oh, we're gonna fucking ruin this person.
She's gonna get chewed up, the poor thing.
Yeah.
She's great though.
Awesome. So good.
Because she's an ex as well.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Cool.
I've not watched that.
I watched
Wednesday
like
Addams.
the first episode of Wednesday.
It's good.
It seemed like something where like if I had kids and they watched it, I'd be like, this seems like a cool thing for these kids to watch.
Yeah. I like the casting with Gomez Adams. He's really comic accurate.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
I love Luis Guzman. He's one of those actors that's been around for like 30, 40 years. He's in Boogie Nights.
Just like the cast of Bodies.
No, they were all born after Boogie Nights. This is a bunch of millennials.
Brian, that's not how a segue works. Anything can be true. What's that noise?
Trivia. Backdrop. Backpedaling. Doing a poo on me.
Oh, Jesus.
Back it up.
Okay. Bodies. I really, really had a fun time with this movie.
I've not seen this and I can't wait to.
I think I was not confident you'd enjoy Skinnamarink, Brian. I'm very confident you'll enjoy this.
Oh yeah, no, I'll probably watch it over Christmas with my sisters.
It's a great film to do that with. A bunch of girls and two guys go to a mansion and they decide to play a game called Bodies. And this is basically that thing where you turn out the lights and one person's the murderer and he has to tip someone and then the lights go back on and everyone's like, who did it? Where were you standing? All that kind of stuff. Actual murders happen. And it's just this group of like 6 people, maybe 7 people, trying to narrow down who the murderer is as people get knocked off. Everyone has seen a movie like this at some point, I'm sure. I think the key to this movie is like, this is a very like young, very liberal cast, and watching that break down over the course of the movie as things get worse and worse and worse is really, really fun. The protagonist is a girl who has never met this group of people before, but her girlfriend is like the cool one in the group, so it's her trying to integrate, and they're all kind of rich and they're all kind of shitty, and like it's a fun horror movie. It's good. It's like, it didn't really like have me blown away or anything up until like the last 30 minutes, but there's a scene for the last 30 minutes where it's like 4 of them left and they all just fucking unload what they hate about each other.
Brilliant.
And it's just, at one of them, one of the big insults is like, stop pretending you're rags to riches. Your parents are upper middle class. And it's so much fun. Really, really nicely shot, really nicely directed, and just a very silly, fun movie to watch with people. Like barely horror. Like it's not really horror. One of the guys one of the guys is like 40 because he's dating one of the younger girls.
Cool.
And he's an interesting fella.
That'll be all of us someday, and that'll be fine.
I'll never be 40.
No, John's gonna die at the age of 39 if all goes to plan. Like, that's not funny. That's
You're not
just...
my murder.
No. Who's your murder?
I'm not gonna say that. You're Brian's murder.
I'm not gonna fucking tell anyone. I'll probably be dead by the time.
Yeah, no, like, I murdered John, and I admit it, and everyone's like, haha, good one, Brian. And I'm like, no, like, I have DNA. And they're like, haha, good one. Like, I get away with it. Like, who gives a shit if you die?
I guess no one.
It's going to be real sad when I die. Neve's going to be at the funeral, and she's going to be like, I didn't do it.
Strategy talk.
Video games.
Brian, you've played a bunch of games here.
Yes.
Do you want to give us a quick rundown of some, or is there some you'd like to kind of...
I've played the Callisto Protocol, Goodbye World, Haiku the Robot, Super Kiwi 64, Blossom Tales 2, The Minotaur Prince, Citizen Sleeper, and the new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, which is the Booster Course Pass Wave Tree. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I played a video game once, didn't like it, but I tried again.
Not my thing, really.
No, I'll try once more, but I'm honestly not feeling it. Should I talk about one of them?
Go for it.
Okay, Goodbye World is a game that I played and beat, and I thought this game was kind of cool. It is a text adventure, but it is done in the style of a top-down JRPG, but it's text. And so you're basically watching a cutscene.
Okay.
And it's about two girls who are developing a game, and it hops between 2017 when they first met in college and 2021 when it's a couple of years later, and they're struggling to lock down the game that they're trying to develop because one of them is keeps scrapping the ideas and nitpicking the ideas that they have, and then the other is wondering whether they should get a full-time job in retail or still struggle to make this indie game. And it's an interesting concept because in between each chapter, one of the characters plays a not Game Boy and plays the game that they may or may not be making. You're not really sure. It's implied that that's the game that they're developing. But it's also just like this old Game Boy game that people wouldn't really play anymore, but it's a comfort game, which I totally understood because that's my shtick. But the little Game Boy game is an actual puzzle platforming game that has like full controls, and it's sort of inspired by Nubo and Trip World, which I thought was really cute. And it even has that thing where it's a Game Boy game but in a Game Boy color system, so if you hold down and B or down and A, you can change the color palette.
Cool.
And for what it was, it's a very simple game, and the story is okay, but I really, really, really like the presentation of it.
How are you guys feeling about like approaching Game of the Year? Because I find this time of year very stressful because I feel like my video game time isn't really my video game time. It's my catch up on the shit I feel like I should have played.
Yeah.
I feel that as well, but like I feel because Elden Ring was such a big thing for me that I'm kind of like, you know, like I don't like every other year I felt there was... Did you get your
PlayStation thing today?
Yeah,
I got mine. Elden Ring was my most played PlayStation
So guys,
game.
I know everyone's up on Elden Ring, but what about a little game called The Complex Found Footage?
John, I was going to try and play this earlier on, and this is so fucking pathetic. I own a Mac, and I can't play it because it's PC only. So the options are I go over to John's house and I play it on his new Dell computer. Did you get a Dell, or what was the computer you got in the end?
No, Brian, I made a whole fucking short film about how I don't own a Dell.
What you own now? Alien Workshop or something, or Alien? Warehouse, is that the Alien Workshop's escape brand?
I'm not sure.
Okay, but it's some custom built
Is
spec.
it maybe Ryzen? Does that sound like a thing, Neve?
Razer?
I don't know what you have.
But you also own a Steam Deck, so maybe you could lend me some sort of contraption machine that plays complex found footage. Because I know you're real hard in it.
The idea that you would just put them in the same breath is just so bananas.
Well, that's why I did it, Neve.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't want to hear it.
That's a real John Year 2 podcasting to do.
See, like, the thing about complex found footage, and you have to say the whole thing like that, it's 30 minutes long, so I'm like, oh, that's great, because Elden Ring wasn't.
Yeah.
But you might hate it, Brian. Like,
Yeah, and that'll be even better, because then I can be like, John is shit, and I can drag it.
Okay.
Because, like, the worst is
I
when...
bought this as well. I'm gonna play it too.
I love that.
It's part of my gamer homework.
Just headphones on.
Okay.
Headphones on in the dark.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go to one of your guys' house before we record Game of the Year, and I'll play it, okay? Deal? Thanks.
Go to Neve's house.
Sleep over at Neve's. Brian's invited.
Yeah.
You're not.
What the fuck were we talking about? Something?
Game of the Year.
Oh, Game of the Year.
Game of the Year. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Is there any games that you guys want to just be like, people should play this to have context?
Okay, I've got some games.
Okay.
Because I made I'm making a document. Do you mind if I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just reading stuff out.
Man, people have like traditions around our Game of the Year. Have you guys seen any of these messages? They're really cute.
There was one where it's like some dude and his girlfriend go on a road trip and they don't listen to the podcast, but they do listen to Game of the Year.
That's so funny. But I've heard a couple of people be like, me and my friends have this tradition where we'll listen to the Game of the Year.
Okay, these are some games I think are pretty neat.
I feel like I have to fight with you guys just to make those guys happy. Like I'll get really contrarian about Pentiment.
Sure.
Taking that thing to the top.
Why not? Yeah. How about you be the person that really likes that Tokyo... what was that game?
Ghostwire?
Ghostwire Tokyo.
I still have to play that fucking game.
No, you don't.
It's not bad. Look, after playing the Callisto Protocol, I was just like, you know what?
Oh, we'll get to the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay, this isn't Game of the Year. Our next episode... Okay, don't worry. This is episode 174. We have episode 175, which is the pre-show, and then episode 176 is Game of the Year. You have to listen to both of them.
Have we decided on a date they're coming out?
Yes. They're good dates.
Okay.
And there's breathing room for the pre-show, so more people should listen to it.
Yeah,
because
you
of it.
have to listen to the pre-show now, motherfucker.
Maybe we just don't call it pre-show. I think that just like turns people off.
Why don't we call actual Game of the Year pre-show?
We can call it something
Game
else.
of the Year.
Yeah, why
okay.
not? Okay. I thought Elden Ring was pretty cool, but you're gonna hear that from everyone. I really enjoyed Kirby and the Forgotten Land, but that's a no-brainer. Although I didn't like the last couple of Kirby games, so maybe it is a brainer. I really like Grapple Dog, Ollie Ollie World, and Tunic.
Grapple Dog was last year, was it not?
No,
No, that was UFO Catcher.
that was part-time UFO, and that was 2020.
Okay.
But the sprite art is very similar, and
Yeah.
that's why I like it.
Grapple Dog rules. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think if Grapple Dog is on sale between now and the next 2 months, you should pick it up, dear listener gamer.
It's not expensive either, is it?
No, it's like a tenner.
That's crazy.
Is there any you can think of? I'm looking here at some of the games you played.
I like Roller Drum.
Roller Drome. That's going to be part of a Christmas sale for sure.
I've played just enough of Roller Drone to be like, not my thing, dude.
How about Weird West? No. Okay.
Neve, were you tempted by Evil West at all?
Yes, I absolutely am.
I'm really going back and forth on whether I want to play it or not.
Yeah. So like, there are games that won't be talked about before episode 174 that will be in Game of the Year just because.
Or the pre-show.
Or the pre-show.
Maybe we'll have a moment in the pre-show.
Yeah, because it's still being digested.
Yeah.
So don't worry, your favorite game may have an opportunity to be shat on.
Except for Signalis.
Yeah.
None of us are going to play that.
Okay, disclaimer, Signalis, we don't care.
I will play more Signalis by Game of the Year.
I won't.
That's okay.
I tried. I fell asleep. But it's not the game's fault. It was very like, there's something very soothing about the game. There's loads of points in it where it goes down 1 point perspective, like really slowly, and the pixel art's very like smooth. There's something about it that's soothing. You know,
Okay,
it's
this is very much selling me on Signalis.
Okay.
No, yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's like a good thing. It reminds me of like, you know, when you're on a bus and you fall asleep because you're really just like there's something about it that is meditative enough that makes me fall asleep, but then I'm also extremely annoyed by the inventory management. So
Oh man, you should play the complex found footage.
Yeah.
It is just that.
So
I think
all the Signalis fans, you better bet on the John horse because he's the only one winning.
I'm all you got. I think like until now and when we record, I'm probably going to try and play a lot of Pentiment and Signalis because I feel like, oh fuck, I played Sonic Frontiers.
You did.
And is that our game of the year? Is Sonic Frontiers gonna do it, John?
Sonic Frontiers makes Elden Ring look like fucking Death Stranding.
I don't know what that means.
Me
neither.
But okay.
I'm watching Rebecca play it and I'm really into it.
Okay. Legit, Sonic Frontiers is such a better game than it has any right to be. It's actually decent.
Yeah.
It's like Sonic controls... I'm not going to say well.
Do you know what? I was watching Rebecca play and she was like, he's too slippery. And then I went online and there's like a way to respec him correctly to have him play more like a Sonic Adventure Sonic.
So he has like 20 different movement options at any like the amount of like weird jumps he can do, all this kind of stuff, but like in a way that I am convinced if you got super good at that game, you could just bomb it as Sonic, which is really cool. I think Sonic Frontiers might be pretty alright. And it's chill. It's really weird and sad. Like you're standing...
Yeah, it's got a really good atmosphere.
Yeah, it's such a strange game.
For me, and what I've always enjoyed about Sonic was just it has a brighter, fun aesthetic.
So,
but this is more like, you know, open world,
the
desaturated.
open world has that Death Stranding aesthetic.
Yeah.
The cyber zones,
it's got
are crazy.
It's got these really cool 1 minute levels, and it's just like pockets of Sonic.
Yeah,
and they're amazing, and the music is like Dreamcast music.
Oh, the music fucking rules! It's so good.
And like I didn't know about that stuff, so when Rebecca was going onto those, I was like, I like perked up, and I was like, wait, what's going on? And she was like, oh, these are like, you know, like the mission levels. And I was like, these fucking rule.
Yeah,
these rock.
Whether it can break our top 10 or not really just depends on the fucking death stare you just gave me. Depends on how much Rouge the Bad is or is not in that game.
She's not, but Sonic Prime's just about to air.
No, and she's a main character.
The first episode was premiered on Roblox. That's a okay, you know what?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, you guys turn up your nose, but if Strange World had a trailer on Roblox, it would be doing a lot better.
Yeah, look, you're right, Bryan.
Yep. No, you're right.
That's the
I don't know.
platform
Roblox
you
just scares me because it's like Fortnite for children.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
You know what fucks me up? People talking about how Minecraft makes them nostalgic.
It's a 12-year-old game.
I know, but in my head it's like 5, even though I played it 12 years ago.
It was in beta for like 7 years, something like that.
What the fuck? That was not a Sonic Frontiers section. What were we even talking about?
I was talking about Goodbye World, but then we were talking about Game of the Year because we're all over the place because it's been a month since we last recorded.
Okay, I'm gonna say Sonic Frontiers has like a decent chance of surviving like the first third.
Oh yeah,
it's cool.
I'll push it.
Sure.
I played a teensy bit. I mostly watched Rebecca play it though.
I have a secret gambit this year. It's gonna blow everyone away.
Are we going to do things like Devil Deal again?
What was Devil Deal?
I begged and begged for my game to win Best Old Game so that way I could bow out.
Neve, I think we should genuinely just stop Bryan from
whatever he wants.
winning Best Old Game this year.
Yeah.
It's my favorite fucking category.
Yeah,
I hate new games. New games suck. Except for Super Kiwi 64, which I also beat. See what I did there?
It was very good.
Yeah. This is from the developer who made Tori 3D and Tori 2 last year, and the year before it made MacBat 64. And what this developer does is they make games that look like old games, and that makes Bryan happy. Super Kiwi 64 harkens back to... It's a bit of a mishmash between Banjo-Kazooie, but also Spyro the Dragon because the levels are very horizontal and you glide a lot. But you're a little Kiwi who has a built-in airplane into his backpack.
That's cute.
And You can 100% beat this game in an hour, and it's brilliant. And it costs €3.
Oh.
Yep.
Maybe I could fit that in.
I think you would appreciate it aesthetically, but like this is just some Bryan ass bullshit. Like they know, like the person who made this knows exactly who they're making it for, and it's.
I don't know. We both do like retro platformer stuff. Like you recommended that one last year, the little yellow dude.
Yeah, that was Tori.
Yeah.
I have fun with
Is
that.
it the same? Is it the same vibe, same gameplay kind of stuff?
No, like Tori definitely felt like it was Saturn and Dreamcast. This really feels like PlayStation and N64. It's got really, really good controls because I found Tori a bit too slippery, but I think that was
part of it.
Whereas this has very, very tight controls.
Okay.
And it's all very well considered.
Cool. Guys, I played a 2018 RPG Maker game called Fear and Hunger.
Whoa.
Okay, here's how this game starts. You do like a little text adventure deciding like your character's past. Do you steal the food or do you steal the armor? That kind of stuff. Then you get just plonked in front of this dungeon called the Dungeon of Fear and Hunger, and you have your own reasons for going there. It depends on which character you pick and like what you choose their backstory to be and all this stuff. And so the first thing you do is like, oh, there's a bunch of crates around the entrance, and you go over to the crates and you press them and there's items in the crates and you're like, oh, cool. And so you start exploring all the crates, and then you hear barking. And a little text comes up and it just says, you hear barking in the distance. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. And so you keep going through the crates, and it says the barking is getting closer. And then 2 dogs appear, and you go into a turn-based battle, and they immediately kill you.
Oh.
Yep.
I was just like, oh, a friend. But
no, there are no friends in this game.
Okay.
Neve.
They're all real mean.
This is...
He was telling me about it, and he was like, everyone's so mean to me.
It's such a just mean, cruel game. So, like, you figure out how to get past the dogs. It's really weird and tricky. And, like, the dogs have this coin flip attack that they can one-hit kill you. That's your run. You're dead. Fuck you. That's what this game is. Get past the dogs on your, like, 7th try, and then you meet the ogre. And the ogre has a giant, like, machete thing, and also a huge penis.
Oh, not a big one.
Some people have it all.
Yeah.
A machete and a penis.
So jealous.
The way the combat works in this game is you can target individual body parts.
Oh.
There's a reason I presented those 2 facts adjacently, because you can cut it right off. Woo! But, okay, so the first time you fight the ogre, he cuts your arm off, and then he cuts your other arm off, and then he takes you prisoner, and you don't game over. You're just his prisoner now.
This game is weird. What do you do as his prisoner? What is that face for?
John's making like a disappointed like shrug.
I think people should take the content warning at the start of this game very seriously.
Okay.
One of the status effects is anal bleeding. I now know how that happens.
Huh.
Yeah. I think it hasn't been like since the first Dark Souls that I've played a game that feels like it hates me this much. It is awful, but there's something kind of mesmerizing about it. Because it's like every run you're like, I got a little further that time. Oh wait, what's in this? Holy shit, I'm further than I've ever been. What the fuck is that? Oh no, and then game over.
And what machine are you playing this on?
My Steam Deck.
Cool.
Guys, I'm really coming around on that old Steam Deck. And I needed something like this, something that was always going to be too fucked up for Nintendo to ever publish. And I'm having a great time with it. It's cool. Also, really want to play Milk Outside a Bag of Milk Outside a Bag of Milk. I bought it like 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing that's going to be
That looks like a real John game. When I saw the trailer, I sent it to you and you were like, oh, yep.
Already bought it. Yep.
Yeah. No, because it's the most John-ass looking John that ever Johned.
Yep. Sequel to Inside a Milk Inside a Bag of Milk Inside a Bag of Milk, which is a very interesting 20-minute visual novel.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Guys, you both played the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the big one.
Yeah,
I had an experience
was.
with this game that really knocked me on my ass. I watched a video from a YouTuber I really like called Nitro Rad, and he called it the Callisto Protocol.
Protocol.
It's Protocol.
I don't know.
Callisto is one of the moons off Jupiter.
That's like when you pronounce things weird. We have to let it go.
Me?
Yeah.
Do I do that often?
I do it all the
Like
time,
in
and
videos
I
or real life?
flub it.
Oh, in real life.
What kind of stuff?
Well, not in real life, more on the podcast.
Yeah, it's more fun just to
Yeah.
let it be part of the podcast.
Because sometimes I do it as a bit, but then probably sometimes it's not happening as a bit.
No, I don't think so.
I was just really fucking dyslexic, Neve.
I get it. I
I've been
get
coming
it.
to terms with how dyslexic I am recently, and it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
The Callisto Protocol isn't a good game. I don't like it.
I like. Okay, when was the moment when you knew you were in trouble? Because I had 2 red flags very early on. My first red flag was it wasn't new game; it was new experience.
There was that for me. Okay, for me,
okay.
it was all the. It was the tutorials at the beginning, and one of them was like, "Don't worry about the timing when you dodge," or something like that. And I was like, "Why?"
Just don't worry about it.
And the way you dodge in this game is you use the control stick that you also use to move the character.
Yeah.
It just sort of like locks
you
your
in.
feet,
Yeah.
and you're into a boxing game.
Yeah.
And you sidestep left to
so
right.
if they're doing it's basically a melee combat game. So if there's these zombie style monsters, and if they're giving you a right hook, you dodge left or whatever, and then the opposite way for the other one, and then you can get a swing in, and that's just what you do.
Like, I really like the sound of that, but this is a horror game.
Yeah. I don't know why these weren't attached to shoulder buttons.
Yeah, maybe that would help. I don't know. I feel like it's just a weird system because like what's really annoying and weird is like you get mobbed by stuff. So there's like people attacking you off camera, but it locks you into one character. So it's kind of sometimes you take damage in what feels like a very cheap way.
You're not juggling multiple enemies. You are locked into one at a time.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, it's not that I was looking forward to this game, and I love the Dead Space trilogy, and obviously this game wears its references on its sleeves towards that game, towards that series. But like I didn't have any expectations, but I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, I would be the same. I didn't have any expectations of it, but every time they showed a trailer, I thought it showed well.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, okay, that looks like it'll be a fun action horror.
I was looking at the trailers for Dead Space Remake, and I was looking at the trailers for Callisto Protocol, and I was like, Protocol looks like the real shit.
Yeah, but it's just like, it feels old.
Yeah, it feels like an Xbox game from 2011.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's your main character that you play as, Jacob, he moves really slowly. I am never letting go of the sprint button because his
absolutely.
walk is like Rio levels of just slow and clunky.
And he has this weird offset timing to his dodge where like you have to be psychic and preempt every dodge.
They probably played Shenmue and were super inspired, but they didn't understand like the philosophy behind why Rio moves the way he does.
It feels like that.
The main guy in it, because a lot of the actors in this are actors and they're just motion captured, and then their faces are 3D scanned. So the main guy is played. I didn't realize it because throughout all the marketing, he's got like a visor in front of him, so his face is a bit distorted. But it's
money well spent.
Yeah, it's Josh Duhamel, who is in Michael Bay movies, and he's also Tad in Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. And as soon as I realized it was Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, it just
couldn't do it.
No. But then like the other main character is played by Karen Fukuhara, who is the female in The Boys.
Oh, she's great.
And she's brilliant, and because in The Boys she doesn't have a speaking role because she's playing someone who's mute. So it's great to see her like, full on voice acting in this. I like her character, and like she's way more interesting because it's just a bunch of characters in denial about what's going on, and then her being like, no, you don't know what's going on. And it's kind of like the setup for Alien 3, where they're on a moon off the planet of Jupiter, but it's a space colony prison.
Yeah, it's a
which
prison.
is what Alien 3 is. They're on a prison.
Oh, that's why they put it on a prison.
And so Jacob, your main character, is not meant to be there.
He's part of just a mining thing that was leaving Callisto.
He like
and
just
then he gets sucked back in.
Like he's like a trucker.
Yeah.
Like he takes odd jobs because he flies planes or spaceships or whatever. The other big red flag at the start was there was a bit where at the very start your ship is going down and everything's on fire and you have to crawl up really slowly up to the thing, and it was just so clunky and so slow. I was just like, oh, we're gonna get a lot of these, and it just feels clunky. Like there's something about it that feels really like we're having our cinematic Uncharted kind of gameplay moment that we're locking you into, but none of it ever feels like high adrenaline. None of it feels scary. None of it feels intense. Yeah, it's just slow and kind of dull.
This is not a scary survival horror.
No,
are the monsters interesting?
They're zombies. They're goo
They're
zombies.
just like big gooey scabs.
Yeah.
They're nothing like.
Wow.
I actually prefer the ones in Dead Space because it's
Dead
weird
Space
limb
zombies,
upside down people.
The Dead Space zombies like rule.
Eventually,
I don't love Dead Space, but those creature designs are great.
Eventually, it does the thing that they do in Resident Evil 4, where they realize where you learn there's a phase 2 to them, and it's the tentacles coming out of their heads. So it's like the Las Plagas has hatched out. So they do a thing where you have to take them out before that hatches, and they have like a round 2 or phase 2. And so they're dead, but they're still alive because the parasite inside them is now taking over the host.
Yeah. And there's some other things, like there's like a skull that lives in an egg. And that's like one of the weirder designs, but like it's also just annoying because they're kind of a jump scare thing. You round a corner and one grabs you and it eats a lot of your health. And then you're shooting all these eggs in the anticipation that one of them could be that, but they never are, so it just feels like you're wasting ammo. But I find that bit of animation so annoying, I don't want to see it again.
This feels like one of those kind of horror panaches where it's like they just kind of scoop up a bunch of things associated with horror without really much of an understanding of how you thread horror, like how it says something with fear.
Yeah, you see the DNA of Dead Space in it. You see the DNA of Resident Evil 2 Remake in this, and it has none of the charm of either of those.
For sure.
And honestly, it doesn't look the best.
No, the fire effects look really like. After a while, I kind of just stopped and I tried to take stuff in, and at the beginning there's so much kind of copy paste of the prison location, but then I was looking at the fire effects and you can walk around them and you can see that they're just the 2D fire.
Because there's one moment
the lighting is good.
Yeah, the lighting is lovely. There's one moment, and the face models are really good. Yeah. There's one moment where one of the enemies is on fire and it's running towards you, and I was like, oh, maybe this is a new type of enemy that will set me on fire. And no, it doesn't do anything. It's on fire, and it's just there's something about this where it feels like it's a AA game kind of masquerading as a AAA game. Because there's weird when you die in this, there's gore kills, your character gets brutalized, and
his face will get ripped off. They're like fatalities.
Yeah, and I why are we not done with that? I think it's so boring. Let me turn that off. And it's annoying in a sense where sometimes the way you die feels cheap. Then you have to watch the animation of you dying that you've seen a million times, and then it loads up, and sometimes the loading will put you before you have to go down a ladder or squeeze through pipes really slowly. So there's just a real clunky slowness to it all.
I really like the Last of Us deaths where they cut away one frame before things get really fucked up. I like that.
Give me that. And there's accessibility options, and I kind of had a look in it to just let me switch those off because I just don't want to see them. And it's not that I have anything against gore. I just think they waste my time. It's a failed state. I get it. Let me get through it.
It's just eating into. I just want to get back to the game.
Yeah.
This is such a multi-platform, big release game, but it feels like such a fad at the same time. I think this is going to be so fucking cheap on sale in 3 months' time.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd say by Halloween 2023, it'll be on some sort of Game Pass or Epic Games Store. It'll be free on something.
I kind of want to give it a go only because I like that kind of combat. And I've seen some videos of it, and it's it looks chunky, like the hitting
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't mind the combat. I quite like the combat. It's
hate it so much.
It's the most fun I'm having with it because I find the story dull. I think the character's like he's really like I didn't ask for this, and then there's moments of like why are you so special? And I'm like yeah, why is he something like it's just it's so generic. It's so painfully generically video gamey story, and I'm like okay, fine, whatever. Aesthetically, there isn't much to look at. There's no tension. Like I'm always running through things. Like I think of like Dead Space or even Doom 3, and where you're doing a lot with like lighting and darkness. And I was always moving through those levels slowly, anticipating what was going to jump out and fuck up my day. With this, I'm like running until I get an encounter because the best way to deal with these encounters is like just be aggressive. Like have them swing at you, dodge it, and just fucking pummel the shit out of them until they're dead. So the game is giving me no reason to be slow. And then it kind of feels like they realize that, and then they put in these kind of protocol security droid kind of security
which
robots.
are just like the Big Daddy from BioShock, and you have to avoid them.
Yeah,
Right.
they have a light, and it makes you do like shitty stealth, but before you even can click into that, like if you just run past, you'll get through it because like it's like anticipating you moving slowly. But if you're running through the game, I have skipped like 3 of those stealth segments by just running past it because the robot hasn't turned around yet and started his patrol. But it felt like they were trying to slow you down there. There's something about it that feels it's trying to be bigger than what it is, and I think that was really working against it in a lot of ways.
Sounds like there's no real core to any of it, though.
Yeah.
No. Do you know how they do environmental storytelling? People drop little audio logs and you listen to them.
And what's annoying about that as well, when you listen to these, you can't move.
Oh, that's such a sin for me.
Yeah, and it isn't like a paused in a menu, like it's Jacob just standing there.
No, let me put
it.
that shit on in the background.
Yeah, and they're not long, and it's just like, let me walk around while I'm playing the fucking tape. Why can't he walk? It's so annoying.
It's a game from 2022.
There was actually a bit of environmental storytelling that I found really funny as well. I went into a room and there was big like bloody writing on the wall, and it says shoot the tentacles, and I was like, okay, cool, that's gonna come up the next time I get an enemy. And then an enemy with tentacles comes into the room, and then a tutorial comes up and slows down the whole thing anyway. And I was like, why tell me and communicate that to me as a player through the environment, then go, oh god, this bitch is too stupid. She needs
That's such a fucking we focus tested this game to focus. Like I genuinely think like focus testing is so useful in so many ways, and like especially like with menus and stuff like that, and like play like user experience. But with shit like that, when you get a bunch of fucking idiots in a room and it's like, oh yeah.
And there's no way to miss this like text on the wall. Like there was like, it's like center shot. The item you needed was on a security guard underneath it. It's lit with lighting, and then they just don't trust you to use that information.
When a game does something like that, like if it says shoot the tentacles, and if I don't shoot the tentacles, which I might not because I like to be bold, and I die, it kind of makes me respect the game a bit, because it's like, well, you did tell me. Like I like that. There's a dialogue between you and the player, or you and the game, even if you died. But if like they're just gonna tutorialize it, it's like there's no dialogue there. It's literally just pulling you through this thing.
Yeah, and there was no tutorial at this stage for 4 hours, so I was kind of like, thanks. Didn't trust me to do it. I knew the tentacles are new on these monsters.
Was that your
the information
second
was there.
like?
No, I think crawling up slowly with him on the thing, going tunk tunk, because it took fucking ages, and I was just like, ah.
They're really trying to show off nothing.
Yeah. I was just like, what am I meant to care about here? And his friend who he flies the spaceship with gets like obliterated, and he's just like, no. And I was just like, you didn't even show me this man before he died. Why do I care? It's just like, it's kind of weak in all aspects.
Yeah, like at the start I didn't know who the main character was.
Like, I will say, like, I like the combat, so I am running through it and getting through the combat and fighting it. And I'm, like, not bored, but I'm also, like I'm not never going to think about it again. Like, it's just kind of a nothing burger of a video game.
I was fully prepared to, like, I was going to play in the dark with headphones on and
same.
everything,
Yeah,
and
same.
just
I like
nothing.
I've seen the reactions to it, so I'm not surprised by you guys, but, like, a month or two ago, I thought this was going to be like a sleeper hit this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it, if like like if it was coming from the pedigree of like Dead Space, which still has a real special place, like for anyone who played it, really.
Such a great
And
game.
it still holds
I'm
up.
not the biggest fan of Dead Space, but like the amount of cool shit it did.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much
It
to
had
appreciate
atmosphere.
about that game. It,
Yeah.
It had an identity, you know?
Oh, and this you get to stomp. You get to stomp the bodies, but you get to stomp the bodies to get some Callisto credits out of them, to get some Callisto coins, and then with the Callisto coins you can upgrade your baton.
Yeah.
And that's it. So that's why you stomp. You stomp because you did it in Dead Space, so they had to put it in this, and they didn't really know what reason to give you, so they dropped some health when you stomp them.
It's a good feeling stomp.
Fine.
In Dead Space, I mean.
Yeah.
I wish that stomp button was a dodge button instead.
Yeah.
So you can hear us talk more about Callisto Protocol in Game of the Year.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll do real well.
Yeah.
Real quick, guys, I beat Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
That will also be an interesting game to talk about come Game of the Year. Because there's lots to love about that game, and there are things to not like about that game at all.
Yeah. It is a game until it isn't.
Really cool things about that game. Yeah, we'll see.
I feel kind of bad that I got Callisto Protocol instead of God of War because it's been reviewing so well. But then I went into CAX and there was literally 30 copies of God of War because it's such a game you beat in a weekend.
God of War is reviewing really well.
It's a weekend
Whenever
game.
I hear anyone talk about God of War,
They're like, it's more God of War.
yeah,
and I'm like,
a lot of the people I listen to seem just really nonplussed by it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It feels like a good Christmas game. Maybe I'll just play it over Christmas.
Yeah. You got any games lined up for Christmas, Bryan?
I certainly do. One of them is Blossom Tales 2, The Minotaur Prince. I've played 1 hour of this game, and I really like the original Blossom Tales. In retrospect, I appreciated it now more than ever because there's been an influx of top-down Zelda-likes, and they've ranged from amazing to very bad, and Blossom Tale
Did it right.
And Blossom Tales 2 so far in the first hour is also doing it right. And for me, this game feels like a cup of hot chocolate and a warm hug. And the hour that I played, I don't want to play any more until I'm on Christmas break.
Fair enough. I know that feeling.
Because it's that kind of game.
Yeah, I've got that Tactics Ogre game like siphoned off to the side.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a cozy time.
Then the other game that I'm playing a little bit of is Citizen Sleeper, based on your recommendations, because you both really you were both really
Very up on that game.
Yeah.
up on that game, and I played 2 hours of that, and so far so good. I don't know if I'm playing that game right. I was telling you some of the stuff I was doing, and you were like, scale it back a bit.
It takes a couple hours to find your feet with that game, but the game is way less punishing than you think it is.
Because I got a bit overwhelmed by the tutorials at the start, but maybe they're not.
The whole like dice mechanic is really hard to communicate, even though it's quite simple.
Yeah, like as soon as I realize, okay, 1 dice is your default, but you can't roll it without a dice. But then the higher the number, it does have a higher prediction of whether it's going to be a negative, neutral, or positive result. And I like that there's a neutral result because look, at least you didn't get the negative.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting mechanic, and you're right. The art and the music is fantastic.
It's just a very easy to read, those paragraphs, the way they're presented.
There's something about
Yeah,
them because
I don't know.
It's
that,
very,
like,
very digestible.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is just it never wastes dialogue.
No.
Like it never says more than it needs to.
I find it a bit hard to navigate the map.
I
It's
think
a weird, because you're twisting and turning, but then you use the D-pad when you're kind of locked into a plane to kind of like go left and right of the, I guess, because the spaceship is like a big halo.
My map glitched out a few times.
Yeah.
Like there's a point where I kind of got trapped in cyberspace. It was weird. But yeah, it's a fun game.
Is there a quick way to go back to your cargo?
No, you kind of just go through it all
Because
the time. Yeah.
you know how like it might be the end of a day and you've used all your expenses and now you have to go back and start the day again. I wish there was like a button you could press to just like teleport you back so that you can go to sleep, start
As
the day
you
again.
go, you'll get more homes, like more places. There's an
okay.
apartment you'll get that's in the middle of the map, and then towards the bottom end of the map, you can stay with a commune there. So there'll be different points where you can sleep, so you're not always traveling back to that one space.
That'll be handy. And I'm looking forward to when the map loops as well, because it is a big circle or a big ring.
It doesn't get there, Bryan.
Oh, no.
I know. It should, but it doesn't.
Because of what happened.
Yeah, that's totally one I think people should check out. Even if you're not into like, I don't know what kind of game this is. Text game, kind of?
Yeah.
Resource management.
Resource
Yeah.
text adventure, but the game's always on sale as well, and it's on every system now.
It's great. It's really good. People should play it. And also, just to say, if there's something you really, really want us to play, sure, throw it in the comments.
As long as it's not Signalis.
I will play Signalis.
There you go.
I'll play more
will,
of Signalis
I will
as
be
well.
your champion, my Signalis. You know, Brian's played all Disco Elysium.
Oh, what do you think, Bryan?
I can only
can't
talk
say.
about it to the
Because
person.
he's a fucking weirdo.
So the person who bought it for me, I talked to that person about it only.
Okay. And do you like it?
I can't tell you. The person who bought it for me gets full access to my opinion on that game.
This is the weirdest OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Isn't it? But it works as well. You know what they're like, John?
Does he make you play as a fascist?
I played it the way I wanted to play it,
So yeah,
was
it's just, yeah.
which is I played it as an absolute scab because I didn't pay for it. Okay, I got more
Jesus
games.
Christ, Brian.
Haiku the Robot is a game I paid for and also beat.
Okay.
This is a explore-action game similar to that of Metroid and Castlevania.
Exploration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you mean like a corner scratcher?
No, I mean like a search-action game or explore-action.
Search action doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it?
Explore-action does, though. It's a portmanteau of exploration and action.
You know, I like exploration because it's really annoying. So I think I'm going to change to exploration.
Okay. Thanks, John. So now it's
okay,
been adopted by Let's Fight a Boss.
Yep, exploration.
Okay. Haiku the Robot is an exploration game that
Okay, I hate it already. I'm so pissed off with it.
This game's great. It's interesting to play a game in this genre that doesn't necessarily borrow from Metroid or Castlevania, but actually borrows from Hollow Knight, because Hollow Knight was such a cornerstone in this genre that now it's inspiring other games. And I think there's been such a long wait with the Silk Song prequel that was meant to be DLC. Now it's a prequel. Who knows when that comes out? It'll come out when it's ready. But I think if you're the kind of person who's looking for something to play and wants to play some sort of Hollow Knight like, Haiku the Robot is that game. In terms of exploration, the boss battles in this game aren't particularly good, except for the final boss, which is very, very difficult and sticks in your mind. But all the other bosses couldn't tell you anything about them. But in terms of exploration, it does a fantastic job of balancing that critical path without holding your hand. You always know whereabouts you should go and what you should try to get a little bit further in the game. And that's a really, really difficult thing to do in a video game. And I don't know how they managed to pull it off on a small indie game like this. And so for that, this game has my respect in that regard. And I do think it's a great game.
Cool.
Neril did a video recently, and I think Haiku the Robot was one of the games.
Oh, is this the real kind of orangey pinky? Like it's got a really distinctive palette.
Orange and purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you play as like a round little pill bug looking robot, and the pixel art's super lovely. The only thing I don't like about the art is that the text in this game looks like placeholder text because it doesn't match the pixel art aesthetic.
Oh, that really bothers me.
Like, you know how you play Celeste, but then they drag and drop in this like sans serif font, and it just doesn't match
yeah,
the
that
artwork.
always hit me weird about
And
Celeste.
so this does
Their
this
new game was cool, Earthblade.
Yeah, it looks great. But this does the same thing where it's like, why didn't you just do pixel art that matches the aesthetic?
Yeah, I never understand that.
And like, I'm sure it's there for accessibility reasons, but I wish there was a way to toggle it on and
it's
off.
so weird because both Celeste and this game have such a distinctive look.
Yeah, it's just like they went 99% of the way there, but then didn't with the with the text. It's so strange. But yeah, no, it's a game I really enjoyed.
Cool.
Then the last one I want to talk about is the new Mario Kart DLC, which is Wave Tree. And this came out last week or the week before, and this one's a lot of fun. It uses mostly Mario Kart Tour tracks, which I've never really played because I don't like Mario Kart Tour. It's not a fun game to play. But I did find out something interesting about Mario Kart Tour. In that gaming historian video, the most recent one, he did it on Super Mario Kart for Super Nintendo. The co-director of that is now the head of Nintendo's mobile gaming division. And that's why Mario Kart Tour has so much attention to detail and resources put into it. That's my theory.
That's just a game theory.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Fuck. Yeah, we have a new announcement to make. No, we don't. So far, so good. They also added in a really cool feature, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where if you are setting up a Grand Prix with friends, you can now change the items you want. So you can do bombs only, but you can also turn on the figure of 8 special. And when you get that, you get 8 bombs. I think that's really chaotic, and I love it.
Mario Kart's still going.
It is. I also got my Switch online thing where it told me, here are all the games you've played. And one of them is like, the game you keep playing, and it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And then below it, Smash Brothers Ultimate, because still play that a little bit, but it's not getting any more DLC. DLC is fun. Keeps the game sticking around. John, could you say Quicktime Events again?
Quicktime Events.
Alright, this first one is Sonic the Hedgehog co-creator Yuji Naka has been arrested twice for alleged insider trading. This is to do with the fact, okay, he hasn't worked for Sega for about 15 years. Last Sonic game he worked on was Sonic 06.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
So that's where he left his legacy. Then he went to indie. He did a game called Haiku the Kiwi on the DS, that's a good game, actually, in my opinion. Now he's working with Square Enix, and he made Balan Wonderworld last year.
Which everyone loved.
Yeah. So that was a 2021 game, but that gave him a bit of insight into what Square Enix was making on the side, and one of them was a Dragon Quest mobile game that he bought stock in ahead of its release and made a lot of money on. And apparently the way insider trading works in Japan is that it's done and it's not really it's a crime, but it's sort of ignored, kind of like piracy is.
Right.
But occasionally they'll pick someone and make like a big deal out of it,
right? Okay.
To kind of warn others not to do it. And Yuji Naka was the person that got made the martyr for this.
I don't know. I think it's time that Yuji Naka paid for his sins. I think it shouldn't stop here. I think Nomura should be next. Just get him. Just raid his fucking house. Bring him to jail.
Who's the other Sonic co-creator that him and Yuji Naka fucking hate each other? I think it's the character designer of Sonic.
Did we meet him before?
I think you met him, or Rebecca met him. She got some drawings off him at AkumaCon a couple of years back.
They hate each other.
They hate each other now, and I think there's a magazine cover with the two of them on it, but one of them has been redacted, so he's just like a black silhouette.
What? Weird.
Adult men don't fuck around.
No, they don't like each other.
No, they're not besties anymore. John, this second one, do you want to read this one out?
Yeah. Let me read this out word for word because this is really important. So, guys, I've never been a big NFT person. I'm ready to change that right now.
Why?
Yu Suzuki working with gaming blockchain Oasys on OASYX NFTs.
There you go.
Now, how do you make Shenmue 3 even better?
You don't make Shenmue 4.
Non-fungible tokens, guys.
This is so nuts. Did they announce this?
Yeah, they
recently?
announced it earlier today.
Yu Suzuki has like a full statement about it.
This is bananas.
Pumped.
Like, I don't know how you can be announcing stuff like NFTs when things like FTX, like the bottom is just like dropped out of it. People are going to jail for fraud. Like
why now?
Yeah, why now?
Well, Neve,
confidence has never been lower.
Okay, can I tell you guys something I heard recently? I had a meeting with a manufacturer, and it got to the point in the meeting where I was like, oh, cool, this all sounds great, seems really good quality, and I'm happy with this price points and everything. So the only thing left is like, if you could just point me to any accreditation you have on like ethical labor, or like, just that your factories are kind of legit, and there's no forced labor, no child labor, anything like that. And this white American dude pauses and he just goes, what we really try and focus on is putting power in the hands of the creator, and goes completely silent. I told Michelle this, and whenever Michelle asks me a difficult question now, my response is, we believe in putting power in the hands of the creator.
That's a really good deflection.
Oh my fucking god.
We want to give the creator power and also blood on their
Like,
hands.
he went into full, like, cyborg mode. Like,
Christ.
it was the closest I've ever come to feeling like I blue screened a human, you know?
Yeah, it's like you had found an error in his conversation path, and you were now trapped in a loop.
Yeah.
No one takes this path. No one asked me this question.
Probably,
I don't know this prompt.
probably not going to work with that dude.
Yeah. So, you know your sources, and if it's fair trade, it's
Bryan,
it's always better.
So complicated and weird.
I know, like, growing up, I was one of those kids that always reads the labels, and I'd always be like learning what country my t-shirt came from or where my shoes come from. So many shoes come from Vietnam. I just find that stuff really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's bizarre. Anyway, so Neve, I guess with like this kind of NXT thing, NXT is a wrestling NFT thing. I've always felt that Yu Suzuki just really believes in putting power in the hands of the creator.
I don't
He's
know.
the creative director on this project.
That's just, oh god.
Neve, he made Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
This is what he deserves.
Do you guys think he's gonna make Shenmue 4?
No, he's making NFTs.
I think he is using his NFTs to fund the creation. I don't know. I think he'd love to. I think if someone let him, if someone gave him money, he'd do it.
Because we only have like 6 games to go.
Look, maybe some prince who has blood on his hands will fund Shenmue 3 or 4 or 5. You know, it's some dude who's got a sketchy background will do something with that money.
Guys, real quick, we don't have it on the docs, but a trailer dropped at the Game Awards for Street Fighter 6, and it's our first proper look at Marissa and the other girl, and I am so happy. These are 2 grapple girls. They both look fucking unreal.
They also announced Tekken 8.
Yeah, whatever.
Fighting games exist.
Yeah.
And continue to exist.
Tekken 8 looks good, although I'm not really feeling that Tekken drip like I usually do. I'm not happy with a lot of the... Are you seeing the outfits, Neve?
Yeah, I felt that with the last Tekken game as well. I think we're
doing too many like buckles.
Too
and
much shit on stuff.
Yeah.
It's the Final Fantasy. Okay, we have a lot of rendering power now. Let's put a whole pile of shit on.
We can do leather and metal.
Yeah, we can put all the
my
textures,
God,
all the stuff. We can do everything. It's like I always liked like Law. I like how like his clean Bruce Lee look, and now they're like, what if we just glue some shit to him? Paul's hair looks rank. I've never seen Paul look worse.
Have you seen Law?
Yeah, I've seen his.
Law needs to cut the juice.
Yeah,
like
he looks.
What
kind of
happened?
insane. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're very over rendered at this stage.
Yeah.
They also announced Death Stranding 2, which I would play. It was, I don't know, confusing feeling seeing that game show up again.
Who's the protagonist?
Oh, it'll be Sam, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Can't
not.
let a woman do anything.
It won't be fragile.
If it's fragile, I'll eat my hat, but I absolutely doubt it'll be fragile because like Sam comes out and like people are like, oh, he's old now because the rain that makes people old, so he's not actually old. You know the way like Fragile's body is like disgusting and elderly under her catsuit. It's a whole thing.
I saw that cutscene.
Yeah, they made her run in the rain. Yeah.
It was shortly after that. No, it was about 3 hours after that I turned off.
You know the way for the last 3 Christmases I've been like, I think I might play Death Stranding. I think I might actually play Death Stranding.
I think you should.
I don't think you should, John. I think you should play Tactics Ogre Reborn.
I'm gonna play that like downstairs with my parents, but then when it's alone time, it's Death Stranding time.
I kind of like that. This seems like first Death Stranding was snow, was like what you had to get through, and I don't know. Kojima watched Dune and was just like, this time it's sand. But I like the colors they're using. I like the aesthetic. That's always been the good thing about
I
Kojima.
would bet Death Stranding 2
had some good
is
vehicles.
going to be interesting, right?
Yeah, well,
like
this
it's
is the
going
thing.
to be an interesting game.
Yeah, that's why I'll always play a Kojima game. I will feel emotion, whether they be good or bad, and I will be entertained. You know, like Callisto Protocol is so boring.
He's trying shit. You know.
I wish you'd try a new IP. Do you guys
The
have
Game
any?
Awards.
Yeah, do you guys have any thoughts and/or feelings about the Game Awards?
Nope.
I think Stray is a fucking coward ass game to put in there.
Yeah, that's not an indie game.
Like, I don't even like it. Put Vampire Survivors in there. Like that game fucking just swept people this year.
They have very
So much
strict-
Vampire Survivors.
But like, I get it.
There's a hump, John. There's a hump, and then you get over the hump, and it's beautiful again.
I just, it doesn't engage me at all.
Like it's got very matter of fact categories, but then the nominations are very
Yeah.
strange.
I've been playing Stray as well.
Yeah,
Is it?
That's fine.
it's fine. Yeah,
Everything Bryan said about it is true.
it's a video game and you play it, and then it's
That does qualify it for a Game of the Year list.
it's got some stuff in it. It also doesn't have stuff, so it's a video game.
And that's all our news. That's our coverage of the Game Awards. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like congratulations to all the winners and also the people who clapped. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. The Game Awards has never felt more boring.
Yeah.
You know, I was like not invested in anything.
The live music is always interesting.
Yeah.
Hosier
I think
plays.
it's the combination of like it's an industry event and an award show.
Yeah.
And like that's not what other award shows are. And that's complicated, and I don't think there is no solution to that that's going to please me that anyone involved is going to reasonably do. I think Jeff Keighley seems like an okay dude.
Oh yeah, he puts a lot of work and passion
Yeah.
into what he's doing.
It's very important to him.
Yeah.
Email.
Ask Let's Fight a Boss at gmail.com.
Ask let's fight a boss at gmail.com.
You have once more?
Ask let's fight a boss at gmail.com.
See how we didn't do any goofs or funnies?
No, just you can't joke about some things.
The reason why you did that is because we want some emails. Okay, I got one. This one is from Miskell, and the subject is an email from Miskell. Hello, Neve, Bryan, and Jim. John mentioned playing Rounders in a recent video, and that surprised me because we have that game here in Canada too, by the same name and everything. Because I guess baseball's American.
Yeah.
But Rounders is kind of like cricket baseball.
I don't remember mentioning. I delete my own videos in my brain when they're done.
Oh yeah. Me and my goons have continued to go to random playgrounds at night and scuttle around them silently like weird spider people well into our 20s. I don't even really remember playing it at school as much as I have as an adult. I'm wondering what are all your favorite schoolyard games were, and if any have stuck to be bizarre recurring friendship rituals. Now I know at the start we all said we love pogs. Neve, do you want to just elaborate on that?
Yeah, just talk about like just your pure love of pogs and like what the game means to you, like what it meant back then and what it still means today.
Pogs for me were a solo activity. I would collect them and look at them.
Pogs are kind of like NFTs, but like way better.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's like, what if an NFT was real?
I never figured out how to play Pogs. I have no idea how you play that game.
Nobody ever did.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Did you actually play with the Pogs?
I beat other kids and took their pogs.
Really? Did you do that, Bryan? Did you actually play with
you
Pogs?
played pogs, right?
I thought I did.
So it's just, okay, pogs are like little coins, little cardboard coins. You put your pog in, and they put their pog in, and then you both have a slammer, and the two pogs are just on the ground, and you have to flip the pogs, and the person who flips the pog gets to keep it. So you slam it down, and the object is to hit the pog right on the edge, so it flips over, and then that's your pog. Except if you really want to keep the pog, in which case you're like, I'm bigger than you, and you're not taking this one.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We used to play Roy Rover. I don't know if you played that. It was banned in our school because a kid died.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like
Roy Rover is
not when I was there, but it was banned.
So it's like Roy Rover. We call over.
Yeah.
We
call a
John
name
over.
of kid over.
And so it's a fence. It's like
you
arm
make a
length.
chain of children on either side. So like you're
yeah.
linking arms, and there's 2 chains of children across a field, and then like a child runs.
And they try to break through, and if they break through, they get to take one back with them.
Yeah.
But if they get caught, they have to be added.
Yeah, it's like chess with children's bodies.
Yeah,
that's so fun.
But they're all the pawn.
Yeah.
We used to play one called IRA.
Oh yeah, times are different.
It was real weird. It was like if you could drag the other children back to your base, they have to stay there. But then you can get dragged back to the other person's base.
Yeah, but who willfully decides to not be the British? Like, who's like the English in this?
No, we weren't like the game was just called IRA.
That's such a kid thing where you don't really know what it means.
Yeah, it's
okay. So our version of that, and I had to be the person. It was called Saving Private Bryan, because it was the 90s, and there would be 2 armies, and I would be in the middle, and they'd both have to like take me back to it was capture the flag with a human boy. It was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, those games, I wish we could play that with our adult bodies, but we'd all die.
I really miss running around and just like yeeting yourself at the tarmac, and you'd be grand.
I miss like casual wrestle fights. Yeah. That was my favorite thing as a kid, and now it's fucking socially unacceptable.
I remember one time me and one lad, like he had me pinned down, and he was like, "Get your way out of this one, Bryan." And I was like, "Okay, Kiev, I will." And I spat in his face.
Whoa.
Jesus, gross, Bryan.
But like back then you could do that shit. I remember.
No.
Oh, he was pissed. He kicked me in the dick so hard. Yeah. I remember we used to do this thing where like you know how like you'd be talking to someone, and then another guy would go behind and crouch down on all fours, and then you'd push them back over them. We used to always play that shit.
That got real big for one summer in my school.
Yeah, except
someone did it to me, and I was like,
because like it is kind of funny until someone fractures their arm.
Yeah.
And that was me, but I was still laughing until it started. I was like, guys, it's really swelling up. And then I was like, should I tell my parents? One guy was like, don't tell your parents because I'll get in trouble because my parents will give out to me. And I was like, I think I have to tell them. And he's like, okay, but don't tell them it was me. And I'd be like, fine. And I was like, but then what are you going to do? So then I had to blackmail him a little bit. Because you got to do a little bit of extorting as a kid.
You do, yeah.
Like blackmail is just part of, you got to have like, well, what game you got?
Well, I told you about that time I was at a kid's house, and it was like our parents having dinner, and I was like in the kids' room, and so I thought it'd be funny to make one of the kids believe he was in trouble, and I was like, don't worry about it, I'll sort you out. And so I'd go out into the room and just stand in the hall, then I'd come back in and be like, I think I only made things worse, they're really pissed now. And so by the end of the night, he thought that he was going to be put in a cage, and that all his clothes were going to be taken away, and that they were going to dip him in lava.
Why did he think that, John? Did you tell him that what happened to him?
He was a long time ago, I don't really remember the details, but I had fun.
Yeah, actually that is one of those things where it's like lying as a child, lying as an adult is still something that is very fun. And because like this is part of the question, like what is carried into your adulthood, and I think like making shit up and just having a little smile to yourself, I love doing that.
Bryan definitely has big brother energy, very much so.
I love telling lies.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Yeah,
like just making up shite is just the best. I guess it's time to get into it. I was on holidays in New York, and that was a great opportunity to just tell lies, because you're on holidays, you're in New York, so like anything is possible.
Rebecca is also someone who very intelligent, but will believe something initially.
Yeah. So Rebecca caught on pretty quick that I was doing a bit. Gullible Americans, they don't.
Oh, I think Americans will believe you out of politeness. An Irish person would not.
So we were at the Thanksgiving Day parade, first morning of New York. This is on Thursday the 24th. And we wake up super early because our body clocks are still set to Dublin. So we wake up at 6 a.m. So we go out to a good spot along 6th Avenue, and we get, we're there for like 7 o'clock, 7:30. We get a good spot, and very quickly it starts filling up with people all around us. And it is a mixture of New Yorkers and out-of-town Americans. And neither the two shall ever mix, but only a Thanksgiving Day parade. Because usually they would only walk past each other. But with this, they have to stand next to each other for like 3 or 4 hours. And the New Yorkers, they're smoking weed at 8 a.m. and they are drinking whiskey, and they're having a great time. And then the out-of-town Americans are like, I'm 8 months pregnant. I don't want you touching my stuff. I need to sit in this chair from time to time. I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm more important than you and your child. And the other woman is like, fuck you and your pregnancy. My child is born. I want to get to the front. And then they'll be like, is excuse me not in your vocabulary? And then there'll be other Americans who'll be like, hey, fuck you. I'll watch my kid, you watch yours. You're not going to get to drink that coffee.
Frank, this all happened.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
no, this is all,
this
this is all too specific.
Yeah, this is so
too
specific.
And so, like, there was 2 lads, and they were just very, very flamboyantly gay men, and they were a fucking scream the whole way through. Because whenever floats would go by, and it'd be like Crayola or something, they'd be like, oh, wow, there's Crayola! But then, like, something new would come along, and they'd be like, children, who's this? Because, like, they don't know. They're not from the suburbs.
They sound like a delight.
And then at one point, like, the cops came along, marching along, and one of them goes, defund the police! Defund the police! But happy Thanksgiving, y'all! And then there was, like, a bunch of marching bands. One of them was an all-black college, and they were like, yeah, woo! Everybody loves an all-black college. And everyone fucking cheered even louder. Because we do! And at one point, Ada Twist from the
What's wrong,
Netflix
Eve?
series Ada Twist.
I worked on that.
Yeah, so she comes by, her float goes by, and they're like, who's this? And I'm like, that's Doc McStuffins. Now, not the same show, but basically...
In the same studio.
It's the same studio. It has the same fucking show creator.
Yeah.
It has the same...
Child creator.
It has the same endeavor of little girl, person of color, STEM.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking show.
It's probably also funded by the Obamas.
It is, yeah. Probably.
Whoa.
Yeah, Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama are executive producers on Ada Twist. Despite it having very few episodes on Netflix, it is a big hit. But then they brought out fucking Bluey, and I went fucking mental, because Bluey is fucking brilliant. You guys know what Bluey is? No. Bluey is a 2D kid show, but the way they handle the imagination is, they don't teleport them to a magical world. Rather, they stay in the back garden with the cardboard and the homemade aesthetic, and the parents play and they act out the imagination, so it's grounded in our reality, even though they're little dogs.
This is fucking boring.
John, when you see it happen, you're like, why hasn't nobody ever done this before? Because you know how when you watch Rugrats, and when Rugrats are doing like fantasy, they get
wild, yeah.
Yeah, like they get costume changes and beanstalks grow out of the ground and all that. But in Bluey, they don't do that, because it is an intelligent show that respects its audience.
You're really passionate about Bluey, Bryan.
Yeah, you really are.
It's a really good show. The animation isn't even that good. It's just the writing is writing is so important, and Bluey gets it right.
Bluey gets it right.
Yep. No, it just tackles some really mature subjects for a kid show. But you know, it is a kid show. They brought out Goku, and it was Super Saiyan Blue Goku. They had Pikachu, and he was in a Soul Sled, and then Eevee was behind them. They had a minion float, and like, I don't give a shit about the minions. The minion float was actually fucking amazing, because the way the floats work is that it's people pulling it on string or on a rope, and you need about 20 people to pull the float from all the different like little like anchored points, let's say. But all the people who were pulling the minion were dressed in banana costumes. But part of the minion float was an animatronic, was that it was holding a banana person that was flailing around.
I saw that.
So it looked like it had picked up one
That's
of the...
so fun.
It was such a clever idea, and like that could have been done any time before, but it's just like hadn't thought of it
totally.
now.
That's
and like
deadly.
it was a cool mix of like, because like Peanuts were there, so they had like a big Snoopy and an astronaut costume.
Cute.
So like it was a nice mix of kind of like old stuff and new stuff. At one point they had Sean Paul. Remember Sean Paul?
Yeah.
And he sang "Shake That Tang."
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
It's good that he's rolling with the classics.
Yeah. They had Jimmy Fallon and the Roots, and Jimmy Fallon waved right at me. Didn't wave back at him. Because fuck you, Fallon.
I always confuse Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel has a beard, but back in November, Jimmy Fallon had a beard because of Movember or something. But now he has a shave for Christmas. And
One of them I really fucking hate.
Probably
and
Fallon.
One of them I don't.
Kimmel's probably the one you've no opinion of. Fallon was the one that was on SNL for like a decade.
I think Jimmy Kimmel is like the real vanilla guy, isn't he?
He was the guy who dated Sarah Silverman for a long time.
I don't fucking
Oh man, they even just look the same.
They do.
I recently discovered that Chris Pine and Chris... Who are the other Chris's?
Pratt, Hemsworth,
not
Evans.
Hemsworth. Evans. Chris Pine and Chris Evans. Do you know they're different people?
Yeah, one is Captain Picard and the other is Captain America.
But like they're completely different people.
Yeah.
Chris Pine has a very distinctive face, I think.
Yeah.
He has those like really sharp blue eyes.
I don't think you
Chris
guys
Pine
get it.
was
Like they don't have the same body.
No, but like, John, Chris Evans was in Not Another Teen Movie. One of the best films ever made.
That was a pretty fun movie. Wasn't
Fight me? Yeah. Nobody will. They won't fight you on that film. Everyone just kind of goes, yeah, it's good.
Brian, we're in your new place and I don't know where your toilet is.
You have to go up the door and up the stairs and it's a sliding door.
Okay.
We're just gonna leave all this in.
Yeah, we're just gonna leave.
You should do the like Patreon shout outs.
No.
Like, finish the email.
No.
You can do a loot drop for me if you want.
No. I'm just gonna say thank you, Miss Gill.
Find me and see how long I pee for.
I don't want that information. Patreon shoutouts.
Patreon.com/LFAB.
Patreon.com/LFAB.
Okay, Neve isn't here.
Neve has a couple of faces she'll make involuntarily when we're talking.
Yeah. I don't like when she does the Kermit the Frog scrunch.
Oh, I love that. That's when you know you got her.
Oh yeah. Like you've hit a weak spot and she doesn't have an answer, but also she's flustered and embarrassed because there might be some sort of there might be a weird sexual feeling.
Well, I don't know about that, but what I do know about is this first one. I'm going to pick number 2, Brian, from Hazmaster. John, I hope you haven't hollowed out and been brainwashed to become a supporter of Dell after the torture they put you through. God, that was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was.
Fuck.
Yeah. No, it was like spring 2021.
Sometimes people ask me like how much of the Dell video is exaggerated. Literally nothing.
No, he was miserable.
There's 1 or 2 events that I switched the order of, but me and Michelle had a real talk about how I need to stop fighting the Dell battle because it was destroying our relationship. Not destroying our relationship, but it was having a serious impact on our lives.
It had conflict.
Yeah.
The best one was like, because you were telling me as it was going, and the time you sent me that screenshot of the email where they said, "Hi Josh," I was like, oh, they're doing what I do. I like them.
Yeah, that was so fucking wild. We've told the story before, but a guy left a comment on an old Vimeo video I had where they called him Hi Josh. Brian has called me Josh since that. And then Dell, completely independently, called me Josh.
But one time on the podcast, you introduced yourself as Josh, like completely like by accident and went, "Ah, shit." Okay, this next one is from Ostomus. Brian, please play Spyro Reignited. I know it's 2025 and the Lizard Lords have banned all media about lizards. You have no idea what I'm talking about, but please, for your own good, play Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. The world is depending on you. I've played Spyro Reignited. I've started Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, but I had just 100% completed Spyro the Dragon 1, and that's the game in particular that I have nostalgia for. Maybe someday I'll get back and continue playing Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. Neves Rebecca has platinumed that game.
Yeah.
She loves Spyro, so maybe at her. Neve, the third one is yours?
Oh, this is from Cassiopeia. Every time a new ep comes out, I'm surprised by the passage of time.
Us too.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Full month with this one.
Yeah, it's been a month, and I'm sure it sounded.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Things have been busy.
Yeah, we're older and stuff. This one is from Zenus Epsilon. Wow. By the time you read this shout out, Bayonetta 3 and Metroid Prime 4 still haven't been released. Edit.
Cutting it close. You
Edit.
really got it.
13th of July of this year. God damn it. That's when the Bayonetta 3 announced or release date was. So that game has been and come, and there you go. Metroid Prime 4.
Not even a trailer.
No, that's coming out on Nintendo's next console.
I will take this next one from PhD is the Big. This episode of LFAB is proudly sponsored by John's Redacted. Should probably start reading these before I read them.
It's his butt. Neve, you got that last one there.
Okay, look, I just want to say, been a lot of butt talk this episode. Do not try that with me in real life. It will go poorly.
I'm calling this episode Butt Talk.
Eternus, I think this is it from. That's how I'm pronouncing that. Shout out to Dirk, the sweetest, kindest badger boy bully over in Wisconsin land, for introducing me to LFAB during COVID. It's giving me much comfort and many laughs, just like you.
That's really sweet.
That's a nice one.
That's a really nice one, Eternus. Thank you.
So yeah, patreon.com/LFAB. Every dollar helps pay for Callisto Protocol.
There is a season pass.
Sometimes I spend money on a game and I'm like 3 hours in, I don't enjoy it, and then I just go, this was LFAB money.
That's like the only way you can like put a silver lining on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do legit play more games for this podcast because I want to have things to talk about.
Same,
like, I love
sure.
that. Love it for that reason.
Yeah.
Loot drop.
We scour the internet for some really heinous shit. So I've said that before.
I think so, probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like something you'd say.
Yeah. Hey kid, check this out. Last time I didn't have any loot drops, so this time I have 3. Do you guys want to just not do loot drops and I have 3?
Yeah.
I got one.
That works for me.
Okay, Neve's
Yeah.
tapping
you
out.
go first, Bryan.
Okay, I have 3 loot drops. Kiki Flipnote on YouTube, who
Kiki Flipnote rules.
Yeah, great.
Did me a little drawing once and it was very sweet.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah.
I think this is the best video they've made. I love this fucking thing so much. I've watched this thing like 50 times. It uses Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins music, and it's just, I love this song, and it's just a really, really well animated story about mice and cheese. Then the next one is Urasawa no Manben. This is Naoki Urasawa, who...
No way, he did it on Shuzo Oshimi.
Yeah,
That's
he did
crazy.
a video on Shuzo Oshimi, and it's Shuzo Oshimi drawing his most recent manga, the one about the love triangle with the boy with the glasses that you've read a couple chapters of, John. I can't remember the name of.
Yeah, I'm scared to read more of it just because I am worried it's going to be problematic in a not fun way.
Yeah. So it's his process on that, and then also his process on a chapter of Chi no Wadachi, Blood on the Tracks, from earlier this year.
Chino Wadachi's gone such a fucking weird way. I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore.
And it's cool to see what Shuzo Oshimi looks like and the way he talks, and it all happened to him.
Okay,
and then,
I'm definitely going to watch that.
And then the last one is Karen Fukuhara, who is in Callisto Protocol. I found out she has a YouTube channel. She set it up while she was at home isolating during lockdown. And it's a Q&A with her stunt double, Irma Long. And it's just them talking about all the different projects they've worked on, because they did the first Suicide Squad together, because she was Katana in that. And then she's her stunt double for The Boys. And it's a really fun conversation between the two of them. And there's a bit where like Karen really likes to give her own stunts a shot, and so her stunt double is also kind of like her hype man, and so occasionally she will be like, Karen, you do this one. And it's a really fun relationship that they have.
That sounds super cute. Okay, as of the time of recording this, I am not sure that this is going to be live. We'll see. I'm waiting on a package tomorrow that kind of decides everything. But yeah, if you want to go check out eyepatchwolves.com, I've opened up a little store. I made little fake anime and I pretended it was real, and I made some t-shirts and some hoodies, and I'm selling them, and you can buy them if you want. If this is not out yet and I am wrong, please discard everything I just said and then act surprised when it's out. Thank you.
You don't want Oni to cut it?
We'll see.
Oni, just do... Ask John how his brain is, maybe.
Not so good.
Yeah. Get that drip. Dress hype. Be a little sneakerhead. I don't know. You're not doing shoes.
No, but it's still part of the tagline.
Yeah.
Like it's a more a lifestyle thing.
Get them shoes, kid.
Get them shoes, not here, but somewhere.
Yeah. Christmas a coming. Santa's gonna fucking... He got that stocking.
This shit's really nice, and I genuinely... Like, I get everything, and I test it, and I wear it, and I'm like, this feels shit. We're not selling this. Like...
This ain't ethical.
My office, it's covered in so many shitty t-shirts, guys. Holy shit.
Neve needs clothes.
I do. Clothe me, John.
She's not wearing clothes. It's really
clothe you.
weird.
What do you want? What do you want? You want a little sweater? What do you want?
A shitty sweater and a shitty t-shirt.
Okay.
We've been naked this entire time.
Yeah.
It's something to think about.
We've been doing it for like this forever. It's not even weird anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my god, let's go.
How else would you podcast?
Bring it
Yeah. No, the log line is we've been naked this entire time.
It's the static electricity.
Yeah.
You know, you need to.
Yeah, I like to feel this podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want to know or not know.
And that's episode 175? 4, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
You want to not know where the podcast ends and your body begins.
Game of the Year will be out. Do we have the date?
Yeah, we do.
Are we saying it?
Yes. Hopefully, correct me if I'm wrong, but the plan is the pre-show or whatever it's called, that 1 hour chunk is going to be on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
I will be in charge of making sure the thing goes up on the 24th. If it doesn't go up, I don't fucking care, and you're all at a loss because I'm not doing shit on Christmas Eve. So good luck with that, guys. But I will do my best to have it up at that day. But if something goes wrong, you're on your own.
We all have specific jobs for Game
And
of the
just to
Year.
be clear, I'm not talking to you two. I'm talking to the audience.
Oh no,
Okay.
I understand.
Yeah, like John is responsible for publishing this episode, and we do not have a lot of confidence in his ability.
Yeah. I did forget once.
Yeah.
But I did remember 173 other times.
Yeah, so fuck you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.